Am I the a-hole for offering to sell my seat to honeymooners? I was flying from Melbourne to Dubai. I paid for a premium economy seat because it is a 14-hour flight and I want to be comfortable. The person in the next seat had been upgraded and they asked if I could switch seat with their wife as they had just gotten married and were on their honeymoon. I congratulated him on his nuptials and asked where his wife was sitting. He pointed towards the back of the plane, in economy. I declined to switch seats. He asked if there was any way to convince me. I offered to switch if he paid the difference between the seats. It is a goodly amount. I had been lucky to get mine at a decent price. It would only have cost him $1,000 AU dollar. He said that they were on a budget for their honeymoon. I congratulated once again and put in my earbuds. He muttered that I was an asshole. I said he was a prick for taking the upgrade, instead of either sitting with his wife or giving it to her. I told my wife about the incident, and she thinks I should have done the nice thing. For the record, she hates flying in economy, so I know she would not have switched. Not the asshole, if he really wanted to sit with his wife. I'm sure the person sitting beside her would have loved an upgrade to premium economy. He was essentially asking you to pay for his wife's upgrade. As a seasoned flyer from Australia who also works in aviation, I smell a rat. Presumably they booked together. They would have had the opportunity to plead their case when the upgrade was processed, either by contacting the airline prior to the day of flying, or in person at the airport. My bet is that they either booked separately, so she couldn't be taken into account, or he has some kind of status with the airline. And I'd also bet that the newlywed yarn was just made up for sympathy. He didn't have to take the upgrade, and you are not to blame for his selfishness and lack of planning. Am I the asshole for ruining my own gender reveal party? I'm pregnant with a baby boy due in November. My fiancé and I didn't care much about the sex of our child, so we didn't make too much noise about it once we found out. The only people we'd informed were our parents, their partners, and our siblings. Prior to this, my father's girlfriend of 3 years had been asking me about my plans for a gender reveal party. I've always been clear about not wanting one. When I announced my son's gender to them, she expressed disappointment that I hadn't changed my mind about a party. I don't like gender reveals. Never have, never will. I prefer baby showers, which I think feel more about the actual child. I never tried to hide that opinion either. Days later, my father's girlfriend invited me over for tea at their apartment. My dad was out of town. When I got there, about a dozen people popped out of hiding to surprise me. There were pink and blue decorations everywhere, which made what was going on pretty clear. As I stood there in shock, my father's girlfriend excitedly told me they were throwing me a surprise gender reveal party. Since I'd already told her, she had taken it upon herself to order a cake with colorful frosting, decorate the apartment, and invite a bunch of people over. The guests included her mother, whom I don't get along with, some of her friends, my mother-in-law, not my mom, and 4 of my friends. As I later found out, my mother-in-law and friends had been told I'd changed my mind about gender reveals. I had not. Still in the doorway, I looked over at everyone and said, "It's a boy. You guys can go home now." I left without looking back. Hours later, my father called me furious that I'd ruined the party. He said his girlfriend had put a lot of effort, money, and love into planning it, and I should have shown respect and gratitude for it. Apparently, she hadn't stopped crying since I left. It's been almost a week, and they're both still upset. Even after I explained I never wanted that party in the first place, they're insisting I could have sucked it up for an hour, or at least cut the cake. Am I the butthole, not the a-hole? This smacks of her trying to prove that she cares about you more than your mom, especially seeing as how either your mom wasn't invited, or she turned down the invitation to respect your wishes. She doesn't seem to get that the way to prove she cares about you at all is to actually listen to what you want and don't want. I asked my mom. She confirmed she wasn't invited. According to my father's girlfriend, she didn't have her number. That's probably true, but I have no idea how she could have gotten my mother-in-law's.